Dear parents and students, welcome to Test Prep Card channel. I believe all of you are doing great and staying safe. So in this particular video, I'm going to cover the list of easiest topics in JEE Mains 2021 to score the highest, right? Now this is particularly from the mathematics point of view. Now before starting this video, let me just give you a brief introduction like what are the things that you're going to cover in the next 10-15 minutes, alright? We are going to start with the myth about the nature of exam patterns, right? It is always told that JEE mains exams are hard to crack. It's not like that. Trust me, it's not like that. We'll discuss about that thing briefly. We'll discuss about the list of all the topics of maths in JEE mains 2021. All right. We'll discuss about the important topics with their respective weightage. Now, what is your preparation strategy? We'll also discuss about the preparation strategy to give the final touch to these topics. We'll also discuss in terms of input and output, right? How much energy you're going to invest to receive that particular output from the corresponding topics. All right, so this is the thing that we are going to cover. Let's start the video now. If I talk about the myth, I've analyzed the last 15 years of the questions of JEE Mains, and I've seen that overall, if I talk overall, 41% of the questions are quite easy. 41% of questions, right? Now, these are very important. You need to just figure out this 41% of questions. Always, this has always been the trend. 42% of the questions are quite medium level. That requires you just need to practice a little bit, right? Now 41% of the easiest part are just the fundas part. Funda, formula, that's all. That all will make your life easy. In this 42%, you have to just practice a little bit, and there are 17% of the questions that are quite hard. So it's better to neglect those questions at this point of time, right? If I talk in terms of subject wise, particularly in mathematics, it has been seen that 31% of the questions are quite easy. You just need to figure out those 31% of questions. 49, around 50% of the questions are medium level questions, right? That requires lots of practice, concept clearing, that's it. And 20% of the questions are quite hard that you can neglect at this point of time, right? Because you just need to qualify the exam, right? This is the main thing in here you need to understand. Let's move on. Now, what are the list of topics that is coming in JEE Mains 2021? So let me just give you a brief. What are the list of topics? This is about inverse trigonometric function, ITF, then circles and family of circles, sequences and series, 3D and geometry. Now 3D and geometry, that is in class 12th, right? So major part will be from class 12th. Of course, you have discussed the basics in class 11. Then probability and statistics, that we call in maths. Then vector algebra, integration, complex numbers, parabola, trigonometric ratios, application of derivatives, limits, continuity and differentiability, matrices and determinants, quadratic equations, sets, binomial theorem, permutation and combination, that's again a part of modern maths, quite easy topic, but that requires concept clearing, right? Triangles, relation and function, mathematical induction, and lastly mathematical reasoning. So these are the list of topics from maths that is coming in JEE Mains 2021, right? Let's begin. Let's discuss about the weightage part, right? And from here on, your strategy will be defined. There is always a saying that calculus covers the major part, right? But I have not covered calculus as the first priority in here. I've covered coordinate geometry because that is quite easy. That is just the formula part. If you are knowing the formula well, you are going to attempt the entire question of this 3D geometry, coordinate geometry essentially. That covers 17% of your maths entire part. Now, calculus is divided into the two parts, right? That is differential calculus and integral calculus. If I talk about differential calculus, it covers 17%. And if I talk about integral calculus, it covers 14%, right? Again, 17 and 14, that sums up to 31%. Keep it as a second priority. I'll tell you later on, don't worry. Then talking about matrices and determinant, that's quite simple, right? That covers 7%. Of course, you should go for it. Sequences and series, that covers 7%. Trigonometry, that covers 7%. Quadratic equation, that covers 3%. So less than 3% I'm not talking about. So quadratic, probability, permutation and combination, mathematical reasoning, statistics, algebra, binomial theorem, complex numbers, these are all 3% thing, right? So if these are 3%, like you are going to invest your energy much, but you're not going to receive that particular type of output. So avoid these topics as of now. Now let me tell you, in the coordinate geometry, this is briefly discussed that there are many things that is coming in coordinate geometry. I've just shared this thing in PPT, right? And that PPT link is in the description below. You can download that PPT, in short, the PDF essentially. In the coordinate geometry, if I just tell you about the important thing, normally this type of questions comes in coordinate geometry. So I have seen that questions from section formula, locus, and equations related questions. That is quite common in JEE Mains. Apart from that, distance, right? Distance formula is quite simple. Use the distance application of distance formula, equation of internal and external bisectors or angle between the two lines, right? And again, there are many things in here. I'm just reading it out. Those are very important. But yes, you should go for the entire thing in here. And of course, you should always look for that conics, that 4 types of conics, standard form, shifting. So from there on, you can expect a few questions. If I talk about the integral calculus, in the integral calculus, this is about integral as an antiderivative, right? Fundamental theorems of integral, trigonometric, exponential, logarithmic functions, integral, right? These are the things that are quite simple, and again, these are important as well. You can easily score from these topics. Evaluation of simple integral, right? And evaluation of different integral, determining areas of region bounded by simple curves in the standard form. In the standard form. And also there has always been saying that 30%, 33% of the syllabus has been reduced, but nothing official has came from the JEE mains, right? So it means that your entire syllabus is coming, right? So don't leave any topic. If I talk about the differential calculus, right? Differential calculus. So in that there is differential equation, a major part. The 4 types that we discussed, right? These are the 4 types, like using this variable separable form, solving using homogeneous, solving using linear, right? So these are quite simple. You just need to figure out, and this does not require much practice. So this will be your second thing, your second priority. All right, sequences and series, that's quite simple. This is all about EP standard form, GP standard form, HP standard form, and their relationship. That's more than enough. Okay. If I talk about matrices and determinant, because this covers 7%, that's why I'm taking this part. Matrices and determinant, class 12, quite simple. Let me just brief you the important topics that is coming from matrices and determinant. Algebra of matrices, quite simple. Types of matrices, you should know the types of matrices, because direct question you can expect from matrices, right? Types of matrices. Matrices of order 2 and matrices of order 3. Determinants, then what are the properties of determinant? In CBSE, this property thing has been removed, but in the JEE Mains, this is not removed, okay? So do practice that properties part as well. Adjoint, and then evaluation of inverse of a square matrix using determinant. There are very shortcuts, right? Go for the shortcuts. Elementary transformation, test for consistency and solution of simultaneous linear equations in 2 and 3 variables using determinants and matrices. Now at this point of time, that is a subjective question. If that is a subjective question, then solve using a proper way, right? If that is not a subjective question, that is just a MCQ question, then don't solve using, if that there are 3 equations and you are going to solve using that matrix method, that will take much time, right? Use your logic, use your brain, because time is very important. Okay, let's move on to the part where you can easily score. So in the vector algebra, that is a part of 3D, you can expect 2 questions, and these are very easy. 2 questions, quite simple. You just need to know the formula, right? Application of derivatives, that is all about increasing and decreasing function. That is all about maxima and minima. Now in maxima and minima, there are also very shortcuts. So do those chapters first where shortcuts can easily be applied, right? Because this is all about time game. This is not about your theory, and this is not about your mind game. This is all about time game. So application of derivatives, you can expect 2 to 3 questions. Very easy question. Limits and continuity, quite simple. You can expect 2 questions. That is always a trend in JEE Mains, that questions normally come from 2 questions. You can expect from continuity and differentiability. So limits, continuity, and differentiability from there on. Matrices and determinant, 2 to 3 questions. These are quite easy. Straight line, 3 questions. Straight line, 3 questions. Now straight line is very simple. This is not about the straight line that you have studied in class 10. This is about 11th and 12th, of course, in 2D and 3D, in the major form of 2D and 3D, various forms of straight line and how you're going to get that. Coordinate geometry, you can expect 4 to 5 questions. In short, this is all about the 3D part. 4 to 5 questions, right? That will make your life. 4 to 5 questions, quite simple. That is all from formula. Integral calculus, 3 questions. Sequence and series, 2 questions. And modern maths, 3 to 4 questions. So in this modern math thing, you need to practice. So avoid this. Coordinate geometry, avoid, because that requires practice. Just recap the formula. And if there are only 20 days, right? Solve last year question papers and see if you are able to solve it or not. Don't invest much time in those topics. All right. Now, if we talk in terms of input and output, if we talk in terms of input, like how much energy you are going to invest and what is the resultant output. So I have categorized into 3 things. The first one, low input and high output. Low input and high output means you are going to invest less energy, but you are going to get high output, right? Coordinate geometry. Of course, that is all about formula thing. You can expect 17% of the questions from coordinate geometry. Matrices and determinant, 7%, quite simple. So again, low input and high output. Sequences and series, low input, high output, 7%. Trigonometry, low input, high output. So these are the topics that I have kept in low input and high output category. If I just sum up, this comes out to 7, 3, 21, and 21 and 7 is 28, plus 10 is 38. So overall 38% of the questions from low input and high output. All right, let's move on. Now there is a medium input and high output. A medium input means you have to practice a little bit, right? Only formula cannot make your life easy. You have to apply those formula. In short, these are application based questions. These are the questions that you can solve to get the answers. I have kept few topics in here like differential calculus 17%, integral calculus 14%, algebra 3%. Now, algebra is like vast thing in here, right? So that's why I kept in here medium and high output. Binomial theorem, that 3%. Now binomial theorem is all about the formula thing, right? So at least you should go for the formulas and try to solve last year questions, last 15-year question paper. See that you are able to just get the questions or not from these topics. And complex number 3%. Now there are topics which requires high input and low output. So what are those topics? Of course, that is mathematical reasoning, statistics. Statistics is again all about algebra. So you just need to practice a little bit. You have to recap the formulas. Algebra I kept again in this place. Binomial theorem again I kept in this place because questions that you can see requires solving, much solving. So that is high input but low output because 3%. Complex numbers, quadratic equation, and probability. So these are the things 3%, 3%, 3%. So you can see at this point of time that this requires high input and low output. Alright. Now again, at this point of time, let me just give you a very important announcement. For NRI students, we have prepared an NRI ebook that's related to DASACIWG quota. Kindly download it from the link in the description below. Alright, this is for the NRI students. We have a compiled set of NRI ebooks. Okay. So this is just a brief about this list of topics, and of course you should try your best because this exam has a very high importance, right? You better know this thing. So this is all for today's video, and again, if you have any further doubt, do comment below in the comment section, and you can always connect with us using the link in the description below. Subscribe our channel, press the bell icon so that you won't miss any updates and